Hello, how are we? Welcome to ABW Live, the West Ham debacle. I'm not sure what to say, guys. Well, I am sure what to say, but let's wait until we get into it. First in the box was Thomas from Norway. Then there was DK Druid. Then there was Richard Garrett. Sorry, my bloody thing's slow here. It's ridiculous. Pablo Amar. Is in there. Who else? Thomas from Norway. We mentioned Thomas from Norway. Oh, God. Yeah. There we go. K-Man 1867 is there. He's got a question already. Rui Rodriguez is there. Hello, guys. How are we all? Yeah, and Josh is in there as well. How's it going? What's news? Hope you're all well. Before I introduce my guests today, a quick shout out, the one and only Dave Seeger. Unfortunately, Dave's son passed away on New Year's Day or New Year's night, and the thoughts of everybody at ABW are with him. He's got a fundraising page on his Twitter page. It's at GoonerDave66, where people are donating money to the Willow Foundation in Liam's name. If you want to go and do that, please do it. It's it's harrowing for a guy who I've had the pleasure of doing a couple of book reviews with and podcasting with. He's an absolute decent man, is Dave Seeger, and our thoughts are with him and his family. He's an absolute, it's harrowing to see that happen to any of us. But it's good to see you lot. With me today, I have the one, the only, the John Welsh. Say hello, John.
Hello, John. It's slightly less enthusiastic today, Jace. I don't know if you noticed. You just got that little underline.
Well, yeah, I know, mate. I'm just. Well, we've already spoken about this before coming on, so this is gonna. Well, we're gonna get into it, guys. Make sure of that. There's no hiding places today. Me and the guys have been speaking. There's no hiding places today. My second guest, and it's not last but least, it's here. It's our northerner. It's Josh. How are you, Josh?
Oh, by God, how's it go, lad?
Jeez, you sound normal, mate.
Yeah, I know.
God, you okay?
Yeah, you say there's no hiding places other than, that stadium that we saw apparently 11 Arsenal players try and turn out into. But
we're going to get into that.
Let's get down to it. It's going to be a great show from us.
It's going to be cathartic, isn't it? It's going to be cathartic. Quick shout outs to the box. It's good to see you too, Thomas. Stefan Selby is there. Simo is there. Loki 73, Gary Stryers, Fred Flintstone. I tell you what, Junior Gunner's there. Fantastic. We've already had some great questions in. I can't believe it. And yes, Thomas, you're right. The Triple J panel today. God help us. Stand the man 450 there. Yaz Gooner's there. Hello all. Mayank Nagendran's there as well. Gooner 73. I just want to get those in early doors. Right, straight to you, John. Lineups. No Ozil, no Ramsey. Guendouzi and Xhaka in the midfield. A back three. This is a team that kind of has flattered to deceive in the past, and we're going to a West Ham team who are on the up. Talk to me about it.
You can get some of the selection because of, again, being limited in what you can do at the front because of injuries to Mkhitaryan. And Ozil is confusing because there was mixed reports. The Associated Press were saying that they were told he was available, fit and available for selection, and he just wasn't picked in the 18. Other people were saying he still had the knee injury. I tend to go with the AP and the Associated Press and what they've been told because it's generally, I assume they got that from the Arsenal press officer. Maybe we'll find out after the game. I'm sure someone will ask Unai about Ozil. Him out of the team. Ramsey, I get again to a certain extent because, the Juventus deal isn't official and finalised, but it looks like it's going that way.
We're going to come to that later.
Back three, again, I'm not really keen on it, but we're playing Kolasinac, who we know can't really defend. You're playing Maitland-Niles completely out of position. makes it a little bit more solid. And I do actually, whilst I prefer Torreira and Xhaka together, I do kind of get dropping Torreira because I do think the last couple of games he has actually dipped in form. So I think if you're going on the last few games, it does make sense to take him out of the team. Other than that, there really isn't anyone else to pick. Would I like to see Ramsey start? Yes, obviously. Would I prefer we play a back four? Yes, but I don't think we've necessarily got the fullbacks to play it at the moment. So yeah, it's kind of what it is.
Okay, cool. Josh, the game, I mean, it started off, it was a typical Premier League game, wasn't it? There was a lot of back and forth, but we never actually grasped and dominated that midfield at all, did we?
No, it's very similar, as you say, kind of like all of Emery's first halves that we've seen this season, with a bit of him feeling them out. But we are getting to this point in the season now where he's played all these teams at least once. You know, West Ham was his third game of this season, and obviously would know how roughly to get, you know, a decent performance out the side. It was really odd to see that we go against a team. We know West Ham have got quite a few flair players. You'd think that, you know, we wouldn't need five at the back for them, and we put that extra body in midfield. And as you say, it was stark to see after the first half that we were just missing a body in there. Just needed that, because at three at the back, we weren't gaining any defensive solidity from it at all. And it looks more like we're trying to give our centre backs minutes rather than for the good of the, you know, performance of the team. Putting those three out, working which one looks like they're going to be, you know, needs rotating out. Today it's Mustafi, another time it's Koscielny, to then bring that body in. We're just trying to get minutes into players rather than actually trying to go out and hit games positively.
Yeah, I totally agree. John, I mean, I looked at our midfield, and throughout the first half, not just in the beginning of the first half, it kind of strikes me, Guendouzi, it's too many touches. It's, you know, kind of, and don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at the kid here. I like him. He's 19. He's got time to develop, okay? But you put him into a high-pressure situation. You're playing him alongside Xhaka, who's not got the quickest feet in the world, as much as he's got a great skill set. Okay, he's not mobile. He's not, you know, he's not got those twinkling little feet. And then you've got Guendouzi, who's got too many touches alongside him, and their shape throughout the first half, you know, they're quite not where they're supposed to be, are they?
Yeah, they're really not. Just a quick thank you to Arian Hadari with a donation. Said his shirt has arrived and it was nice enough for John Welsh to purchase Torreira in the summer, but Stan needs to invest as well.
Whoa, Arian Hadari. Let's get something straight, okay? Thank you for that donation. You're an absolute rock star. We love you. But let's not give John credit. Let's not give John any credit he does not deserve. I'm not having that. You behave. Get back to it, John.
Yeah, the midfield today was, I mean, Guendouzi I thought was poor throughout. Again, it's a lot to ask for a 19-year-old kid who's jumped from League Two into the Premier League. So you get that. Xhaka I thought was poor today. Again, he's not going to play as well when he's playing next to Guendouzi, who is, you know, still learning the trade. He clearly plays better with Torreira. Torreira's a slightly more finished article, although not finished himself. The other issue as well is that they were getting dragged wide so much because we seem to have no plan at all for Mikel Antonio, which was dragging them so far out of position. Which, I mean, one of the most obvious things when you go and play against the West Ham is at some point you know that someone's going to have to pick up Antonio because he's not the most talented footballer in the world, but he's really strong, he's very quick, and he will run all day. So he's going to be one of their big threats. That wasn't addressed. That nullified our midfield. And to be honest, look, we're in a weird position at the moment as a club. We really need Champions League football next season, just for the money injection, which is obviously something we'll come on to. So playing Guendouzi, whilst, yeah, you want to give him time and develop, I'm not sure that we're quite in a position that we can. Do you know what I mean? Like we can afford to develop in games, which isn't the approach I want to take because you obviously want to give youngsters a chance. You know, like him, Willock, you know, Nelson's gone out on loan, but Maitland-Niles today. All these guys, you want to give them a chance, but I'm not sure you can do it in the Premier League.
But not when he's not performing.
Yeah. But I, like I said at the start, I get why he dropped Torreira, because he had that illness and he did have a dip in performance in the last couple of games, I thought, and he wasn't at his best. So that made sense to me. But he just wasn't on it today. Xhaka wasn't either, and he is the senior pro in there. And the shape was all wrong. The amount of times that basically West Ham could just run at our back three so comfortably with the midfield just not there at all. And the wing backs as well, so high up the pitch that I get it. And that's why we planned the back three, to try and secure the fact that, our wing backs are our threat going forwards. It's so easy to get in behind them. And I don't know, we just looked all over the pitch today, didn't we? There was no consistent shape. The back three weren't holding the line together. There was times when one of them was in midfield where the midfield should have been. The wing backs weren't getting back enough. Xhaka, Guendouzi weren't tracking back properly. It was just, it really was all over the shop.
It was disgraceful. J Rob's just come in with a donation of $4.99 to annoy Danny. I love you, J Rob. That's superb. And he says, "Okay, I've stopped crying now. Cheer me up, guys." I'm not sure there's going to be much cheering up, but we're going to have a go. My thoughts on that, John, are if we want to be totally brutal about this, and Premier League is a brutal place, okay?
Yeah.
There's no hiding place in the Premier League. What I will say is this, okay? Pellegrini has had the same amount of time, in fact, a little less time than Unai Emery, to solidify his defence and get them defending as a team. He's achieved that on today's performance. He's achieved that. They're constantly improving, and we're not. And he's still got people saying, give him time, give him time. We're 6 months in. We have no settled way of playing. You keep on chopping and changing the setup of the team, and you keep on not playing our best players. Now, whatever the thing is on that, okay, whether Aaron Ramsey's going, whether he doesn't like what Mesut Ozil's doing, it's down to the manager to bring out the best of what you've got. And Unai Emery, at this moment in time, it's somebody who's saying before Christmas, it's nice not to be out of the title race before Christmas. Well, I got news for you. It's a week after, or 2 weeks after, and we're well out of the title race.
Yeah.
And we're shipping goals. Nothing's improving. And I've had a guts full. I'm not being nice anymore. I liked Unai Emery. I thought he was the correct decision to make being an appointed manager. But now he has to deliver. Pablo Mar, we weren't years behind when Wenger was here. We weren't, okay? Our home form was great, okay? But the truth of the matter is, when there is, as Will Graham said, there's no fluidity, and you keep on, you keep on going with teams that you've tried out that haven't worked. Well, it's not going to work unless you change things or actually work with them in training. Josh,
sorry, go on.
Sorry, Josh, onto a bit more of a positive point. There were some real glimpses of attacking prowess from us in the first half. There was a fabulous ball around the corner from Iwobi, which we couldn't quite convert. It put I think Kolasinac in acres of space. It was a real moment of magic. There was a magical run from Lacazette where he shot wide. So it's not all. It's not all negative, is it? It's not all negative. There were some moments of positivity there.
Yeah, definitely. We were still trying to carve out chances, but it was those kind of nuancy things that were the issue for us, I think, on the day. That ball around the corner from Iwobi, Kolasinac, she takes about 6 or 7 touches on that. Aubameyang's waiting for it first time. He's in acres of space. Is it Kolasinac doesn't trust himself to put that ball in that kind of corridor of uncertainty? Between the 6-yard box where you got the keeper and you got the line of defenders, because Aubameyang just wants it straight in there. I think that's a score and a goal, to be honest. But it was just that kind of disconnect between, obviously not having anything like a tangible midfield creates a very noticeable disconnect on the field. But just in general, there just seemed like, Iwobi was used to trying to be playing in Nketiah that he was doing last week. And this week he's now got Aubameyang and Lacazette. And no one else seems to really be creating. Xhaka, as you say, didn't have a good game. Guendouzi just couldn't get that creativity that he's shown he does have and has shown for us at the beginning of the season. And there was just our fullbacks. And I can't think of any properly successful side that has relied on its fullbacks being its creative outlets anywhere in world football. It's not a sustainable model, and we really need to, go back to the way that Arsenal have been. As we said, when Emery came in and Ivan was giving it his spiel, we wanted to create and continue the Arsenal legacy that we had, and that's creativity from midfield. And we just didn't have that at all. And when you say you've got the likes of Mesut Ozil, who's not in the squad, we've got various different reports on what the issue is with that. I'm going to go with lack of match fitness for it. He hasn't played for us for months, and we've got so many injuries at the moment. 2 of Emery's substitutions today were down to fitness. That's it. Bellerin coming on because he needs the minutes, and we need a decent right back, as we saw from Maitland-Niles today. And just overall, we need more creativity in that side, and I'm sure we're going to continue going back to that point across the rest of this show this evening.
Yeah, exactly. John, let's go to the West Ham goal. That's the important bit. Talk me through it.
Well, I mean, lots of people obviously blaming Xhaka for it, which I understand. The cross comes in and he gets clearance header, but instead of either he could have gone out for a corner, he could have tried to go for a throw in or get more height on it. He ends up heading it down and sort of into our own box. It's clearly a miscontrolled header that falls to Nasri, who lays it off for a really, really good finish from Rice, who, by the way, looks quite the player for West Ham. He looks very decent. But even leading up to that, you've got Lacazette trying to block across. Our work hard striker is playing in the left wing position, trying to block. Was it Zabaleta? I think might have been putting the cross in. You've got Guendouzi, who is just standing sort of aimlessly, not tracking, not closing the ball down at all, not picking anyone up, and then Xhaka's error. And then you compound that with the fact that, it's a poor clearance, obviously, but Nasri and Rice are both standing in our box with 5 yards of space around the pair of them. It's a great finish, but it's 3 players making errors, 1 making a sadly fatal error, but the whole team just not defending properly at all. It's so poor.
This is the thing. The centre-backs go back in unison to block off that danger ball down that channel, okay? Where are your midfielders dropping in? Where are they? Or do 2 drop back and 1 stay out? I do not get what we are trying to do. I don't see it.
Yeah, I really do not understand it. Arian Hadari with another donation, $1.99. Again, more than likely just to annoy Danny. Thank you, Arian. Appreciate it.
Just absolute rock star. I mean, Josh. Sorry, mate. Josh. Dom has spoken about this, a style of play, etc. For as much as individual players are making mistakes, and this goal clearly shows that, okay, surely it's tough for them if the setup is being changed week in, week out, and they have no consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. When we come to style of play, I don't think we've really had a style of play for the past month or so. This is almost like us trying to get through with the bodies that we've got. We've just been absolutely decimated with it now.
But bear with me now. Bear with me. I want to come back to another point. With the bodies that we've got, he's keeping Ramsey on the bench. Now, Ramsey contributed to 20 goals last season and is good enough for Juventus, but apparently doesn't fit his system yet. That's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. I don't know who they're trying to cover. But bear with me. If you're chopping and changing your setup every week, okay, you have no footballing identity.
But they're not signing Ramsey as a defensive player, and we're moaning about the system in defence. Ramsey's there, as you said, he contributes to 20 goals a season. That's not conceding 20 goals a season.
No, fair enough.
Or stopping 20 goals a season. As we said, and it came across in the commentary as well, the last time we kept a clean sheet in the league was against Huddersfield, the lowest scorers in the Premier League. Fulham, one of the worst teams that we've seen early parts of the season, have managed to score 2 goals against us in 2 games. It's just mind-boggling that we can't it's one of the easiest things. We were all sitting in the summer going, our defence, that's really easy because, Wenger didn't know clearly what he was doing with our defence. Bring in this really good manager, we'll unleash Steve Bold, the tactical mastermind of defending, on our players. And we've got Caicedo coming in as well, who, what great world-class defensive coaches. And we're just all at sea. It's mad, even in practice, maybe we're not doing it. You'd even think theoretically something would rub off on them, that even these players that are injured, like Koscielny and Mustafi, they'd be sitting in somewhere like a classroom going, right, this, boys, is how you defend. You can still do that kind of stuff. But it's just mad.
It is crazy. I mean, for all the detailed files Emery brought with him to the interview, what struck me today, our movement off the ball was absolutely shocking. We've spoken about no creativity, but players jogging alongside to the defenders, nobody looking for space. And there was one point where I'm not sure who's taking the throw in, but everybody's just stood still. There's nobody trying to drag a player. Do you know what I mean? If you play any other sport, and this goes for football, rugby, it goes for NFL. If you are committing to a run, okay, or you're the dummy runner for argument's sake, if you commit to that run, you drag defenders. There was none of that today. There was none of it. It was an absolute shit show. I mean, the only person who made any sort of decent movement was Ramsey when he came on. Because I saw Aubameyang stood on his heels half the game. Lacazette, I'm sorry, okay, it just wasn't good enough. It just was not good enough. What's going on? What's happening to make this happen?
I mean, we didn't have as much control of the ball as I think people probably assumed we would, or certainly I did assume we would, is one thing. Xhaka's passing wasn't at it today. That didn't help. Guendouzi's passing was off as well. All our threat and creativity ended up coming. We basically pinned everything on Kolasinac because Maitland-Niles was just not on it at all today. He just wasn't in the game at all. He was dreadful. I'm not going to give him too much stick because I don't think that's his position in the first place, and he's playing there just because he's happy to get in the team. And we've pinned a ton of emphasis on Iwobi being our creative player. When, as you say, you've got Ramsey on the bench, who, okay, yeah, he's leaving, but why not use him until he leaves? I don't think he's going to give you anything less than 100%. And you've also got Mesut Ozil, who, look, I'm no big Mesut fan, and I think he's actually causing the club more problems than anything else. But it's a bit stupid not to use him. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's something that seriously needs to get resolved, whatever is going on there. And then you couple that with the fact that, look, Aubameyang is going to do nothing in a game other than be the last man, on the shoulder of the last defender and run onto the ball. That's his game. That's all he does. We've complained about it quite a few times in games where he's still scored 2 goals, but he's done nothing else in the game. But because that's all he does. And
he's
that's
a luxury player, isn't he, John?
Yeah.
A little like Ozil in that respect.
He kind of is.
So bear with me now, okay? So if that's Aubameyang's game, why don't we play to it? Do you know what I mean? This is the job of the football
Lacazette on the pitch at the same time, and that's not Lacazette's game.
Yeah, but okay. So if you drop in Lacazette a bit deeper, because Lacazette's interplay is superb, and you're telling Lacazette, right, Aubameyang is going to be running in behind every time. So whenever you get the ball, he's away at the races. Put it in the danger area for him to run onto. But we don't even do that. Okay, and I'm sick and tired of making excuses now, because look, this isn't the end of the world. Let's get something straight. This loss is not the end of the world, okay? But we're all taking the piss out of other clubs, okay? And yet I don't see our performances improving, and I don't see us making the best out of what we got, and that frustrates me because I think Emery's a better manager than that. I do believe that.
When you look at this game compared to the earlier ones in the season, I think everyone will admit, even during that big unbeaten run, we got some luck and we still conceded bad goals and defended poorly. The difference was we were creating chances and scoring, and we would just outscore the other team. And, that was how we got through the game. And it was a kind of a case of, look, this isn't what we want at the end, but this season is about getting results, trying to get us back into the Champions League, and then we develop from there. The problem is that you look at today's game and the last couple of games, the trend has been that actually we're starting to create less and less. So if we can't outscore teams, then you have to at least improve the defence, which hasn't happened at all. If anything, I'm not sure on the exact stats, so I'm not going to say it's definite, but our away record in terms of goals conceded must be it's got to be pretty close to last season, possibly worse. I don't know, in terms of where we are at the moment. So you've got to take a real look at Emery and say, look, sort out your problems with Ozil, because then if he's on the pitch today, at least there's more of a chance of scoring a goal. Sort out, the fact that, okay, Ramsey's going, fine, but he's still one of the best players in the squad. Use him until he goes. Because if Ramsey, before he leaves, helps us get Champions League football, that's great.
Yeah.
And if he can't sort the defence out, which, to be fair, it looks like he can't, and it looks like it's individual errors coupled with team errors, and like you said, it doesn't help changing the system all the time, changing positions, changing players. I don't think that's helping. That's confusing for players. That's not going to get fixed this season. So we are just going to have to go on the fact that we're just going to have to score more goals than the other team. We've got the strikers to do it, but you've got to feed them. They're not, Aubameyang is a great striker. He's fantastic, but he is not Thierry Henry. He's not going to do it in his own. Lacazette is a great striker, but he's not a Thierry Henry. He's not going to pick the ball up on the halfway line and run through an entire team. We don't have that kind of luxury anymore, and we haven't had it for a long time. So you've got to get the players who can get the ball to them or make the space for them or that kind of thing, and we're just not doing it at the moment. Look, the defence isn't going to get fixed this season. I think it's just something you're just going to have to lump and get on with.
Bear with me a second, John, okay? Don't tell me, okay, that our centre-backs are worse, and I'm including Socrates in this, are worse than bloody West Ham's, yet they, okay, set up properly and were able to be solid today, absolutely solid. So don't tell me we got worse centre-backs than them. I know we've had injury problems, but we haven't even bloody worked on the defence by the looks of it. And that's my problem. Okay?
I would say their midfield and defence their player selection has been more consistent. They've played together.
But that's
more
the manager.
Often. Yeah, that is the manager. Yeah, I mean, we have had injuries, which has obviously contributed to that, which I do think is an issue. But yeah, we had a week to prepare for this game. It's very odd. And I mean, the one thing that still stands out for me for that game is just no one picked up Antonio. Like, we had no idea what to do with him in the first half. It is bizarre. I understand you're worried about.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I'm going to cut in here. Voldemort, you're coming in my chat box and you're just spamming it with crap, okay? So let's get something straight. You got a stupid name from a fucking kid's book and you can fuck off out of my chat box, you twat. Take care. Goodbye. Right. Sorry, carry on, John.
That's quite all right. I understand you're worried about Felipe Anderson. You're worried about Semi Nasri. They're creative players. They pose the most threat. But the one that's going to run in behind and cause you problems and clearly is going to target Kolasinac, and it was clear from the first minute, we are going to run in the space that he leaves in behind, and we are going to pressure him when he's on the ball. We're going to pressure Guendouzi when they're on the ball, and we're going to force any errors and we can and try and get down outside the pitch. And we just didn't adjust for it at any point. The fact that you go into a game like this, where it's so obvious where the threats are, and we don't have a plan for it, is really, really strange. It's very strange. And the thing is with Emery as well, look, I'm frustrated that he hasn't done more with the defence. I do think we need better players in there. I don't think he'd have most of those in the team if he had the choice, if he could have different people in, and bring in some signings and whatever. But he's got to take some blame for it, that's for sure. But he's also unfortunately walked into a situation where the club is kind of in a mess, in terms of financials and the squad and everything else. It's not in the right place at the moment.
Right, this is the thing, okay, he knew. I'm coming back directly to that, okay, is the fact that he knew the squad available to him when he interviewed.
Yeah,
he knew the squad available to him. Okay, the players that come in, I'm not sure who's his idea, who's his man or who's not his man, but you know what you've got to work with. I accept the fact that there have been injuries, okay? But don't tell me today, I know, that, he's learned nothing from the Huddersfield game, nothing from the Burnley game, nothing from the Southampton game with that setup today. Learned absolutely nothing. Okay, it lacked creativity, it lacked discipline, and we lacked the wherewithal and the ambition to play. In my eyes, Josh.
Sorry,
Ben,
Jace,
Josh.
just very quickly, can I just say the one thing I would say is that in the first half, you saw some really, really good tackles from all three of our centre backs. They made some great challenges, and I would actually say that our three centre halves didn't play that badly today, and that it was actually the midfield that really cost us the game today because they just did not protect them at all.
But I would counter that with, okay, we allowed so much pressure on that back three, okay, because yes, we didn't control the midfield. I absolutely accept that, okay, and I'm probably the midfield is my biggest issue, okay, but we still conceded a goal which which makes us lose the game, okay, and it's that side of it, okay. People have a go at Mustafi, yet Mustafi's stats stack up against the best defenders in the league, right? But ultimately, you need to find a way of weaving it all together to get a solid performance throughout the team. And he's just not doing that. Josh, the creativity side of it, okay? In the second half, we saw a shot from Iwobi just go wide. Some great work from Lacazette and Ramsey on there. Guendouzi shot saved. We tried pulling the pressure on, but it just seemed as though, by this point, we're kind of we're looking desperate, aren't we? We've not got anything to fall back on. We've not got performances to fall back on. Say, right, come on, we keep on doing what we've been doing recently, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. The form that we had earlier in the season was down to Aubameyang or Lacazette will create a moment of magic for us, or Ramsey will come on and he'll get an assist. It'll come off his arse and go into the line of a striker. And because we haven't played, Ramsey for whatever reasons, he's not got a run of form behind him. Aubameyang slipped off as well. Lacazette is getting bit part minutes, so he's never really settling in games, and that looks to really be causing an issue. Because we saw him come on at Blackpool, and all that did, was push Blackpool back at a time of pressure. And in this game, he just looked like he wasn't really sure with what he was doing. Again, down to those just changes and not being settled on that system. It's really annoying for what's going on and how we've not got anything to fall back on, because we are missing that spark, that player who can create something out of nothing. And, you could almost agree that we said we'd lost that when we got rid of Alexis, that was that player, and that was under Wenger. But I think it's the fact that we brought in this new man. We thought he was going to bring in a new system, a system that didn't rely on moments of magic, that would be, drop anybody in, so we weren't over-reliant on players like Santi or Xhaka or, Van Persie. We had this kind of holistic view of our team, and it's just not come across at all. It's just worrying. I think you can.
So tell me, Josh. Okay, what do you put it down to? Okay, obviously there's issues with Ozil and what Emery expects from him. Okay, and you're a big Mesut Ozil fan. Okay, and Ramsey. Okay, he's going, but the importance of getting us into Champions League far outweighs cutting your nose off to spite your face. I've always called for people, if they're going, put them on the bench, okay? I've always called for it. But, as has been explained to me, and as I've had to agree with in the past, the importance of getting to Champions League far outweighs everything else. So at the moment, it's only the Europa Cup, the Europa League we've got to look at here. That's the only chance we're going to have. We were taking the piss out of United a few weeks ago for being 8 points behind. If they beat Tottenham, they're going to be level on points with us. This is getting ridiculous in my eyes. Why do you think Emery is not going with Ramsey, not going with Ozil? What do you put it down to?
I think with Ozil, we've seen that he's out and he's injured. A bit like saying, as you said, to cut your nose off to spite your face. You don't bring a player back early who could last you a league season. So if we've got to, Ozil, say he was fit today, and by all intents and purposes, he was fit, but say he's not match fit and he relapses in this game against West Ham. So then he's out for another 3 weeks. That's cutting your nose off to spite your face. If he comes in the next game and he's fully fit, he plays those 3 games, puts in man of the match performances, and we get 9 points out of those instead of going on a run and a loss of 4 straight losses, say, as a thing. Because we've got someone like Chelsea next as well. He's not got any easy games coming up. And the fact that we're relying, I think everybody on the pod, everybody who listens to the pod might think that I like Iwobi a little bit. It might come across
Just
some of the stuff. Just a tad.
Just a tad.
However, what I will say,
in depth at the Burnley game last season.
Yes.
I
might be wearing an Iwobi shirt at the moment. However, if he is your main creative outlet, there is something seriously wrong with your team. Because he is 22. He is still raw. He's still progressing. If this was a side like West Ham, where he was your main creative outlet, yeah, he's probably of that standard at the moment. But we're Arsenal. We've got Mesut Ozil. We've got Aaron Ramsey. We should have 3 or 4 playmakers in our side. And we've got one 22-year-old kid who, as everybody is saying in the chat box, in their mind, isn't even Arsenal standard. And we're relying everything on him. Earlier in the season, we had more players in there. We had Mkhitaryan available. We had Ozil available. Now we've just got this one guy. And for some reason, we're just not able to plug that gap. Smith Rowe's out at the moment, just coming back. It's really worrying that we've got all of these things. And then to add to it as well, Emery was making a lot of good changes at half-time earlier in the season, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at the moment, 2 of his substitutions are now taken up with fitness issues. Mustafi came off because he can't do 90 minutes. Maitland-Niles came off so Bellerin could get some minutes.
But
those aren't tactical changes, are they?
No, but this is the thing, okay? So if Mustafi's coming off because he can't play for 90 minutes, why start him in the first place? Why not get him rested so when he comes back, he is able to play 90 minutes? Because that's the argument you gave for Mesut Ozil not starting today, not being there today. So why is it good for one player but yet not good for another player?
So I think that's a systemic issue that we've got, that I don't agree with playing 4 at the back, to be honest. 3 at the back that we did. But Emery obviously does. So if we're going to play 3 at the back, we've got to play all our centre-backs, which then causes this issue that we've got to make a sub at some point to bring 4 at the back, or we do something mad like drop Xhaka into centre-back to keep the system alive. And I think that's our biggest worry at the moment, is we seem to be pressing with a system that Emery's not used before this season. He's never played 3 at the back, ever. And suddenly he's now relying on it like a crutch for him to get through the Premier League. And that's the worrying thing, that, we've brought in a super experienced manager who's now using a system he's not experienced in. And that seems to be the thing that, we're talking about, cutting a nose or spite your face. Emery seems to be doing that by playing this system. If he was going, right, I am a 4-2-3-1 manager, that's what I've played out throughout my whole career. And he just does it. Doesn't matter. And we just sit and we've got to deal with it. It's fine, but he's completely gone back on his philosophy and played 3 at the back.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree, pal. Right, guys. Okay, it's that time again. Nobody's particularly happy. We got 230 or whatever of you in the chat box at the moment, and I got 30 likes. Who do you think you are? The Arsenal? What do you think you're doing with your lives? I've had to come back from the pub to do this. I wasn't drinking, mind you, but never mind. Okay, I've had to come back because Shreds has cried off sick. He's injured. Shreds is injured. Shredder was supposed to be here today. Get well soon, Shreds. But let's start tapping that like button, please. I don't come back from the boozer, okay, just for you lot to stand there and go, oh, look at you, yeah, we're just going to moan in the chat box here. Come on, get a life. Be better than the Arsenal. Start tapping that like button. Let's go. Tappy. Let's get going. We've had some fantastic questions already, but let's not let ourselves down. Don't do an Unai. Get it up, get it going. I expect to see 70. Toot sweet. Let's rock. Tappy, tappy. John. Every time. I love doing that now. I love doing that.
I swear that's why half the people watch. I don't think they're interested. There's probably people in there who aren't even Arsenal fans. They're just here for that. Oh, that Welsh bloke goes off on one every time about halfway through the show. I love that bit.
Do you know what? I let myself down today. I should have said once again, be like John Welsh and a barmaid. Tap it. I forgot my question now. John, as Josh has just said, okay, Unai's now using a system he's never used before, okay? You know, you're not using certain players for whatever reason. I think the Ramsey thing is to protect Raul because Raul's pulled the contract. You know, with the Ornstein thing, the Ornstein piece a couple last week or whenever it was, it stinks of it. It does, okay. You keep on changing system from game to game. You know, we're playing Mustafi, who can't play 90 minutes, who played very well today, to be fair to him. And, you know, you've got to rely on AMN in that wing-back position, and that's a big ask for him, okay? You know, to be fair to him, you know, it's one of those things where what do you think he's thinking at the moment? And I want to say this to all the listeners now, those in the chat box and those listening to things. I like Unai Emery. I want him to do well. I really do want him to do well. But what we're looking at here is what has happened. What has been going on? You know, you cannot, you know, you can't polish a turd, right? You can't ignore the Southampton game. You can't ignore recent performances. You have to look at it honestly. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to be anything other than honest in what we're looking at and what we've seen. So go on, John, crack on.
I don't know what to say, mate. Like, today was just... I like Emery, and I think he started the season with a lot of goodwill, obviously, and I think he did well at the start. It's ridiculous to say only 6 months into a job, but I am getting worried. I'm not sure I know exactly what his style is. I'm not sure what he's trying to achieve. I, to some extent, understand the not picking Ramsey, although I think it is a little stupid. I think you should still just pick your best players, and that's, you know, what you do in games. The Ozil thing, I have no idea what's going on there. I've got some quotes I'll read out in a minute from Emery from his post-match presser. That's causing big issues, but he's got to at some point settle and work out, you know, what his team is. Which, okay.
Okay, so sorry. So let's look at that now. I've heard it before from you, and I've heard it from other guys on the pod. Okay, I don't think Unai Emery knows what his best team is.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, but this is the thing. He's been here 6 months now. That's enough time to work with these guys to work out a system to get the best out of the players available to you.
Oh, it should be, yeah.
Yeah, whatever his problem with Mesut Ozil is, whatever his problem with Aaron Ramsey is, okay, whatever his problem with, you know, any player in this team is, he should have the skills to be able to get them round to his way of thinking and find that system that brings out the best in them. But this isn't happening, is it?
Yeah. Look, I think you've seen brief periods where you've seen the best out of Lacazette in a couple of games. Then you've seen, obviously, the run of games where Aubameyang's played really well as well. Xhaka had a really good run. Iwobi had a really good spell at the start of the season. But it's all been in fits and starts. And it's never... We've only really seen, 60 minutes at Leicester, a little period in the Fulham game, which, to be fair, Fulham were absolutely dreadful at that point in the season and still aren't great. But there's never been like a consistent run of like game to game, 90 minutes good performance, I don't think. I don't think all the players are the ones he wants. I don't think this is the system that he particularly likes, like Josh said. I don't remember him ever playing this system before. Maybe he did, Sevilla. He might have done them. But I can't remember him ever doing this. He's always been a four at the back kind of guy. But he needs to do better. The Ozil thing is the one that's slightly confusing to me because I don't think the club want to sell Ozil think they see him as a good asset in terms of commercial revenue and everything else. And obviously the contract is on; it's very difficult to move him. But the manager clearly doesn't like him. So I just quickly read this, Joe. So Press Association says AFC conferred to them that Ozil is fit and available for selection. No setback or new injury, just a tactical decision. Standard Sport also says the same thing. And then when Emery was asked on it after the game, said he's working normal this week. Like I said, we win with him when we lose with him. Today, the decision was to come here with these players. I decide the players who are best for the match. We win with him and we lose with him. He's not been picked.
Yeah.
Now, is that Emery saying, look, I'm refusing to work with this player. He just doesn't fit my plans. He won't listen to me and everything else. If that's the case, that's fine. But the problem then becomes, if the club don't want to sell him and they want to use him as a commercial asset, that cocks everything else up in the squad. And you've already got a division between the head coach, because he's not the manager, because we don't have a manager anymore. You've got a division between the head coach and the people who are above him. It's a very, very weird situation. And I'm not saying like today's result is not Ozil's fault, if anyone's going to jump on me for that. I'm not saying that at all. But I do think at some point Emery has got to come out, or the club have got to make some sort of statement clarifying what is going on with Ozil. Because you cannot have a player on that much money who is your superstar player, who, as much as I dislike the guy, when he turns it on, he is the best number 10 in the world when he wants to be.
Yeah.
And he's not in the team. He's not going to fix our defensive issues. Josh is right about that. He's absolutely spot on. That's not going to go away. But what he is going to give you is the threat up front and the fact that we've got strikers who should be finishing chances if we give them the opportunity to. And let's be honest, we had what? Lacazette forced a decent save from Almunia, from Fabianski today. And then you had Aubameyang, who had one chance that he put high and wide, and that was it. I don't remember Fabianski having to make any saves. So I'm not saying Ozil is the answer, but it gives the team a different dimension. And the Ramsey thing as well. Look, we played better when he came on. I kind of get not playing him, but it's just, yeah. Today was really poor. And what worries me is, like you said about Man United, the fact they're playing Spurs is nice. I now have no idea what result I want out of the game, which is bizarre because I always want Spurs to lose, but at the same time, I don't want Man United to win tomorrow. So I don't know.
I'm sorry. I just know Spurs can't win that.
I can't have them win a game, but it's so bad if Man United win as well.
It is, but look, this is where we are, and this is the thing, Josh. So as John's just mentioned, okay, so the issue with Mesut Ozil now, okay, what we're looking at is if Emery doesn't want him, we're never going to get the money back we've spent on him, okay? And I know that's been amortized throughout his initial contract, so that 40 million's gone. It's we've taken care of that. But that, we would have to subsidize his wages in some way, shape, or form, because nobody's going to pay him what we're paying him unless it's a United or a City or a Chelsea. And if you're selling to a competitor, that's a nightmare. Now, Emery coming into this job knows Mesut Ozil is the star man of the team. Whether you like him or dislike him, he's the star man of the team. He's kind of the biggest chunk of the wage bill. He is the main man, okay? He knows all these things. So surely it's down to both of them, and it isn't putting all the blame on Unai or all the blame on Mesut, but it's down to the both of them to come together to work out how to get the best of them. And not picking him today when he's been declared fit, not even on the bench, I find wholly ridiculous. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I thought it was the right decision, not necessarily to bring him in. To put him on the bench, that is, because I would have thought before the game, it's West Ham. We've got enough to get past them without Ozil, in theory. The reason we pay Ozil the big bucks is not for his performances against lower league sides, it's for his performances against the big boys. That's why you have star players.
The big boys. Okay, so the one thing I'm going to come at you on that with, okay, I hear the term dirt track bully a lot of the time when people describe Lukaku or whatever, okay? But you've got to win those smaller games. We've lost against Southampton this season. And they're shit, okay? They're absolutely awful, but we lost against them. So, it's a consistency thing where, yes, we should have enough to beat West Ham. I totally agree with that. But you use your best players to ensure you win the game. And we have not done that today, have we?
No, but we've also gone out with £104 million worth of strikers on there.
Yeah.
So it's not just one man. And this we were going before. Arsenal shouldn't be a team that's reliant on one man to get past anybody. And now we're going to the fact that, Mesut Ozil, there's one thing that John was saying is if we're just using him as commercial, as almost a cash cow from that point of view, but he still needs to appear on the pitch because nobody's signing deals for a player that they don't see anywhere. Otherwise, he's just going to come as like, does that guy play football? I'm not really sure because I haven't seen him turn up anywhere. He doesn't go onto the pitch. He just walks around a bit like Robert Pires does at the moment now for Arsenal. He just turns up at the training ground every so often. You're like, what does he do now? And I think we've got that with Ozil that's causing some of the issue, but I'm not sure what. I think the biggest problem is I'm not sure what Emery's trying to do. So I can't even work out what he's trying to put on the bench to work it out from that point of view. I would have had Ramsey start in this game perfectly because we need three in midfield.
Yeah.
Out of the way. And then Ozil, when we've seen him playing, is playing out wide. Iwobi, Aubameyang and Lacazette is not a bad forward line. I don't think anybody can come in and argue with me that that is a forward line that couldn't grace the top, other than City. Even Liverpool could go out with that front three and do something.
It's a great front line.
Win games. So that's where I'm concerned, is that Ozil, not having Ozil in this team today didn't seem like the problem it would be when you look at it at face value.
Yeah, but against Southampton, against other teams, against Huddersfield, blah, 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 Burnley, we struggled to get the ball up to them, and that's been the problem. We haven't learned from that. So why is it going to be any different today against the West Ham team that has been improving? Quick one. I'm not in a good mood, obviously, because the result. And I got somebody coming into my chat box trying to be clever. James Hancock, how are you? And he said, Does anyone understand Welsh? Well, James, unless you can type properly and spell properly, I don't think you understand English. It's does. D-O-E-S. Back up your ideas, fella. Fucking come in my chat box. Gonna take a piss. Who do you think you are?
I've got something to cheer you up, Jace.
What's that?
The lovely Yvonne has come in with a £2 donation. New players will inject energy, but will there be any? Yvonne always in there.
Yvonne Kofa, you are a rock star. We love you dearly. Thank you ever so much. We love you so much. But chat box, there's 200 of you still here. I've only got 62 likes. What are you doing? Be like John Welsh and a barmaid. Tappy, tappy. Let's get going. Come on. Let's not mess about. James Hancock is smiling there. I like it. His reply is, that's me. Well done. Nice. I love this chat box. It's so superb. Okay, so let's go. I think it's time to go some questions. The game's kind of done. Just absolutely gutted again. This is. I do not know what to say. Kevin Lebeck, I don't know where it is on the mobile. Sorry, pal. I do not know. I'm not sure. To all of you in the chat box, you're superb. Your magic, you make these games when we lose a lot brighter for all of us. So thank you very much. I'm going to do a quick shout out actually before we go to questions. We had an email yesterday from one of our listeners. I'm not going to mention his full name. We're just going to call him Jimmy. And during obviously November, when Ellis Mel was growing his Freddie Hussein moustache and beard to raise money for men's health awareness, and this goes for women's health awareness as well. We spoke about how, look, if you've got something you're not happy about, maybe there's a little growth, maybe there's, you've got a cough that just won't stop, but you're not got a cold or anything, go get yourself checked out. And Jimmy has had the absolute backbone in the spine, right? And he's been suffering from a depression issue. And on the back of that, he's gone to see his doctor and he's getting help for it, and he feels a lot better for that. And Jim, I just want to say, all of us at ABW are absolutely thrilled that, we've helped you in some way, or that we're part of the process of getting better for you. We're absolutely thrilled, and all the boys want to pass on their best to you and say how much we admire you for emailing us in, because that takes a lot of backbone as well to acknowledge it and to go and do something about it. The bravery you've shown there is absolutely phenomenal, and all power to you, fella. We wish you a speedy recovery, and we hope that everything goes your way and it comes right. It means the world to us that you've emailed us. Thank you very much. You're an absolute star. And this show is for you and Dave Seeger. And, it's one of those things where I can't tell you how much it means to us. And so for the rest of you as well, if you're listening to this show, if you are feeling down, if you are worried about something health-wise, don't hide from it. Go and speak to somebody. Do something about it. Do it now, because waiting will only make things worse. Face up to it. Have a go at it. Hit it head on, okay? You are far more important. Your well-being is far more important than maybe thinking you're bothering somebody. Go get a seen to, please. Please. We are lucky enough to have you as part of ABW, joining in, being in, you're the most important part of all this. So take care of yourselves. Please. Please do that for us. So let's go to questions, yeah? The first question is to John, isn't it? K-Man 1867. Your opinion of the rumoured Ramsey-Benatia swap in January?
I don't think it's going to happen, to be perfectly honest. I'm also not really sure I want Benatia either. No, I'm not keen on that.
Isn't Benatia at Sevilla?
No, he's at Juve.
Is he?
I think he's still there. I'm sure he's still at Juve, unless I've gone nuts.
No, he's still at Juve.
Yeah, he's still at Juve.
You thinking of Banega, Jace?
Yeah, you're thinking of
Benatia.
Yeah. Mehdi Benatia, the guy who was at Bayern Munich, the centre back. Yeah.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I mean, even if he did, he'd drop into a system anyway, and it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, Benatia is he's not past it, but he's not the player he once was. And let's put it this way: Juventus let Lichtsteiner go for a reason. If we got Benatia, do you think that means he's good enough for Juventus, or do you think it means he's not good enough for Juventus and they don't want him anymore? I'd be wary of when Juventus sell someone to you or want to exchange someone. So no, I don't think it's going to happen anyway. I think if Juve really are getting Ramsey, I mean, it looks like that. It's still not confirmed. If they are going to get him, they'll just wait till the summer. They don't need to spend any money or get rid of a player.
Yeah, but this is the thing, okay? We look at the situation. Juventus get him for a signing on fee and and his wages, whatever it is. They don't have to, the layout from them is far less than it would be if they swap a player or they do anything, okay? So they don't want to do it. If I'm Aaron Ramsey, I've had my contract offer pulled. What the fuck do I owe you? I've won you 2 FA Cups.
Yeah.
I've been your player of the season twice. I'm your highest scoring central midfielder, and you're pulling my contract. Yet I only want the same money you're paying Mkhitaryan for doing fuck all. Fuck off. I don't owe you anything. I'm getting shit off the fans. Why? You're not going to do it. I wouldn't do it.
No. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I don't think Benatia helps us in any way. You're signing someone who's, 30, 31. If you do get him, it's dead money. It's not the players.
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing with loans and stuff. And I saw some people complain that if we get a loan, it's not good. I don't actually mind getting a player on loan if we did get one this window, because I'd rather we waited until the summer and actually signed players that we genuinely need and could help the club moving forward, rather than getting these short-term sort of gap stop players that really aren't going to do anything.
I think
for
the
us. They're just
quality
going to end up being sat on the wage bill.
The quality of loans has increased across European football as well. Now, some might say that's for FFP reasons. And to be fair, we're going to be getting loans in for FFP reasons.
Yeah.
But, Douglas Costa was on the 2-year loan at Juve. I can't remember which order it was in.
Yeah.
But there's some seriously big players that are going on loan deals for 2 years.
Didn't Kingsley Coman go to Juve to Bayern
Yeah.
from Juventus as well?
Yeah,
You know,
they did the same thing. It's very typical in Italy that they do like a 2-year loan, and then afterwards you have a fixed price to buy the player at. It's quite a standard thing, and it's a way of mitigating. Say you haven't quite got the money for players in that particular window or that financial year. Although you've got the money, you're not allowed to spend it. It's a way of getting around that. So yeah.
Absolutely. 75 likes. Well done, chat box. Now, can I have 90, please? 90 likes, please. Let's rock. This has been a tough day. So, yeah, I mean, look, if it's the right player to help you, it's a good move. You know, that's the one thing I'd say. You know, I got nothing against loans, nothing whatsoever. Josh, Ozil was at the training ground. You put that in. Sorry. Junior Gunner asks, actually, we'll all answer this, but Josh, you first. Does anyone think we'll still make top 4?
Yeah, I wouldn't be a football fan if I was going to be on the negative side of everything. I want to be positive. I think we'll do it. Might be blissful ignorance, but sure. Why not? While it's still mathematically possible, we could still finish top 4. We won't win the league, even though I think it's still mathematically possible that we could win that. I do at least have some sense we're not going to win the league. I still think we could finish top 4.
Brilliant, brilliant. John?
You know me, Jace. Nope.
I was expecting nothing else, mate. Nothing else. The one thing I will say is, I think Unai's a good enough manager. If he gets his head in his arse, he can sort this out. And as soon as the bad weather's over, we can go on a good run and string together 10 wins. I'm positive we can. So I still think, however imbalanced our squad is, I think there's enough quality there to blast teams.
I think there's enough there. I think the problem is that the teams that are currently above us have also got enough to, beat everyone who's below us all in the league and get the results against us that they need, in the second in the return fixtures.
We need some big results against Chelsea next week, against Tottenham, etc., etc. We need some big things. I haven't got the positivity I had a month ago. I got to be honest with you. The fixtures recently have worn me down. But we can do it. Do I think we will now? No, I don't. I genuinely don't. I think 6th is where we're going to finish after this month. I got to be honest with you, and that's how I see it now. I'm going to stick with you in this, Josh, because actually, we've all answered the last question. Richard Garrett asks, only 6 months in, don't agree Unai could have bit his lip over the lack of funds?
It's a really good question, actually.
Yeah, Richard Garrett always comes up with a good question, to be fair.
Yeah, he does. He does. There was a lot of debate about this, about whether or not he should have said it. I wasn't too bothered about it. We know there's a slightly different structure. I know Wenger wouldn't have mentioned it at all, but he sits at that negotiation table, or used to sit at the negotiation table. So, he was a bit more candid when it came to interviews. Now, whether or not Emery, we're getting into conspiracy theory level kind of now, but we're trying to get Denis Suarez, and Barca are going, pay us a fee straight away, and we're doing the opposite, saying we can only do loans. Now, coming out in public and saying we can only do loans, does that strengthen us? I'm not sure from that point of view. But maybe it just reiterates the fact that we're happy to go out at this moment in time and say we can only do loan deals. We can't take on a whole of a player's wage bill at this moment in time. Because I think that's the problem that we've got. We can't take the entire amount of their wage. We could pay the fee, whatever. We'll just say to Barca, give you £20 million just for 6 months. We could do that. Kroenke could give us his entire fortune plus his wife's Walmart fortune, pump it into the club, and we couldn't spend it because our commercial revenue isn't good enough at the moment.
But do you think that maybe he's having a little dig as well at Raul and Sven? Do you think that might be a bit of a part of it?
Maybe he's just throwing a little bit up there. We know that there's various different reasons for why this season and this window is kind of unique in Arsenal. If we come to the summer and he's saying the exact same thing, then we should all be picketing. Take your kids' duvets and we're going out to the Emirates and we're going to have a party. because just the way that this kind of financial thing has dropped, and I'm by no means an expert on this, and I won't pretend to be at all. I'm purely parroting what better and more informed people have said to us about the situation. But for me, from what I can see, I wouldn't see this as an issue going forward. If it is, then there are serious issues at the back of our club.
Okay, cool. John, Cole Boland asks, although Emery doesn't want to play a 10, do Laka and Albert need a Ramsey or an Ozil in there?
Yeah, I think they do. They need, whether it's one of those two or they need someone else. They need Inform Iwobi, or they need Mkhitaryan, who's somewhere at his best. They need someone to make movement around them. But Aubameyang needs someone who can get him the final ball, whether that is Kolasinac or Bellerin, who, when they've both played, I think have been good in at least in an attacking sense and have provided a lot for us. Or he needs an Ozil or a Ramsey to play that pass through for him. Lacazette is a little bit more flexible, I think, than Aubameyang. He's got a bit more play to his game. He can get you goals in different ways. But yeah, you've got to have someone feeding them a pass, or maybe in Lacazette's place, a player who make a run beyond him to open up some space, that kind of thing. So if you don't have that, you're not gonna get the goals, because you're putting too much on those two to do it individually, or just playing off of each other, which they can do. One thing we haven't said, and I know we don't like giving other teams any credit because it's not what we do here, but I have to say that West Ham did defend very well today. I actually thought they were very, very well disciplined.
Yeah, I think you've got to give them credit there, but I think the big problem is if it's only coming down the sides, if it's only coming down the flanks,
it makes it a lot easier to defend.
Yeah, and if you've got no central threat as well, all of a sudden, okay, why? You don't need to worry about that area. And if you've got somebody like, for argument's sake, Mark Noble in the middle of the pitch, Mark Noble dominated our midfield today. He'll get around, he'll do all the dirty work. So it's that aspect of this is what part of the reason I don't understand what Emery's doing. I don't understand.
You play Ramsey or Ozil today. When Ramsey came on, you saw West Ham struggled a little bit more because you had a player running beyond the strikers, running beyond West Ham's defence, which made more space. If Ozil was in that game today, he picks up the spots in behind a Noble or Rice and whatever, uses his intelligence, experience, and then tries to pick a pass for Aubameyang or Lacazette to move on to. Because there's a few times today where Lacazette made really good runs and no one found him with a ball, or they just didn't look up quick enough to make the pass and stuff. So yeah, you're going to do better. You need every striker needs someone to help them out. They can't do it on their own unless you are Thierry Henry type.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I'm worried about at the moment is that you now have Ramsey played a pass to Aubameyang in the game, and Aubameyang's on his heels. He's flat-footed, okay, because he's not expecting, because the ball hasn't been coming to him quickly all game. He's not expecting it, and you're going to get to the point where if you haven't got that right, I'm going to put the ball in the danger area to Lacazette and Aubameyang, they're just going to stop making the runs, and that makes us a worse team. So I think, it's a very good point, mate. Josh, Mayank Nagandran asks, looking at today's performance, I'll revisit a question I've asked previously. Would it have been more sensible to sign a really good centre-back instead of Socrates and Leno?
Oh, good question.
I know.
I would have said no, because I don't think we needed to address the goalkeeping situation. We've seen what Petr Cech has done for us under the system that Unai wanted to do of playing out from the back with the goalkeeper. So we also needed a centre back. So that obviously had to be cut in half. I still think we needed a system rather than a centre back. I think our centre backs are, I don't want to use the word good enough. They're adequate. They do the job for us. One centre back doesn't make a defence. Virgil van Dijk isn't the reason Liverpool are good. It's the system that he's put in.
He has improved them, though.
He has improved them, but not to the way that people are lauding him.
No. But he's improved that defence massively because they all trust him and he directs them well.
But Liverpool kept the same number of clean sheets as Man City last season without him in that team. And Man City were a great defence.
True.
from that argument.
But you look at Liverpool's defensive record this season; it's even better.
That's true, but Klopp has changed his system. They're not as open. They're more closed.
Yeah, that's true. You've got Van Dijk and you've got the keeper as well. They've spent a lot of money.
Yeah, but again,
I do think signing a big centre back would have made some difference, like a real leader in there.
We've seen Socrates go out and talk to our defenders.
Yeah.
When we saw him and Holding together, we had a fairly good defensive system, but it's the system that's the problem, Jace. It's not the person. The guy can defend. We've seen him put in good tackles. We've seen all of our defenders that we've coated put in good tackles. They can obviously defend to some degree.
Yeah, I don't think our centre backs were a problem today, to be fair. I think the fact that the midfield had absolutely no cover for them and that the wing backs were non-existent.
To be fair, lads, I think you both make really good points. I wouldn't sort of argue there. I would want to bet the centre back than Socrates. Yes, I would. Obviously, I would. Okay, it's not so much what he does when he's in the right position. It's when he's not in position, which is all too often for me. But you can't criticize Socrates at all today. You can't. You know what I mean? He put in a perfectly good performance. And as John said, it was the midfield. So systemic issues are to blame more than anything else. John, K-Man 1867 asks, who's to blame for the awful player management resulting in Arsenal losing millions of pounds on transfers to zero funds available this January window?
Well, there's a guy who's in Italy at the moment running AC Milan, who's certainly a part to blame, called Ivan Gazidis. Unfortunately, and some people will not like this and will not like me bringing up his name, Arsene Wenger is also a part to blame for this. Because as much as Ivan was the CEO and managing director and all the other whatever titles he had and stuff, we all know that Arsenal had the last say on everything in terms of players and contracts and whatever they were given. So you've got to look at it like that. The one thing I will say in Arsenal's favour is that you look at things now and you think, well, actually, maybe you didn't do such a bad job. I'm not saying we shouldn't have changed manager. It was clear it was time to change, whether this, the thing with Emery works out long term or not. But he was overachieving for the last couple of years with the squad he had. The issue I would say is that between Arsene and Ivan, they took the whole sort of socialist wage structure and people being on parity and high wages, like players who are, yes, fine squad players like an El Neni or Danny Welbeck and people like that, but they gave them too much money. They shit the bed on the Alexis thing, and they swapped. Arseblog made a brilliant point about it this week. They swapped Alexis Sanchez, who at the time, yes, he was aggravating for moving, he was playing awful, but we took a player out of the squad who scored 20 plus goals a season, who was on 140 grand a week, and got in Mkhitaryan on 200 grand a week. And we got no money for Alexis Sanchez. We were so terrified that Ozil was going to walk on a free, we gave him 350 grand a week. Now, look, that money, we're not technically losing it because we get some of that maybe is mitigated by the Adidas thing, but it still shows that on the wage bill, which then affects everything else we can do in terms of how we can increase our wages. And it also says to all the other players in the squad, well, hang on a minute, Mesut's on that. Okay, we understand he's the big star name player, but I want to be on at least as much as Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang. Lacazette's probably looking at Aubameyang going, hang on a minute, he came in 6 months later than me and he's still getting more money. Why am I not getting, he has every right to go to the manager and the club and say, hang on a minute, I want to at least be on the same money as him. So that is the previous regime, absolutely. The thing I would say with the Ramsey situation, it is Gazidis' fault in the fact that the offer was there on the table for ages and he didn't get him to sign it before he left. The fact it's been pulled is obviously down to the new guys, to Vinny and Raul and everyone else. If that's their decision, that's fine. That's up to them. I wouldn't necessarily say it's their fault that we hadn't sold him. That's down to the club a year before.
I'm gonna bring something in here. I listened to that Arsblog thing, and I think it's a great point. But I think the one thing everybody's forgetting is Arsenal Football Club do not dictate the wage market. That is dictated by Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool thing. Okay, those are the players you want to go for. And if Liverpool are prepared to pay you X amount, or Man City are prepared, that's That's where it is.
No one was
That's where
offering Ozil 350 grand a week, Chase.
No. That's fair comment. I think that's absolutely fair comment. Okay, but the way wages have gone up are down to other clubs, not so much us.
Yeah,
There have
but
been
you have
mistakes. There
to.
have been.
But you
Bear
still
with
have
me.
to live within your means.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. But bear with me for a second. It's I do agree, okay, right, that offering Mesut that much money was ludicrous when nobody was in for him. Okay, when nobody was in for him. The Ramsey thing, we've heard the club leak out that he wanted Ozil wages, and then it turns out later on he only wanted Mkhitaryan wages. So I think there's a lot of bullshit coming out from the club and people covering their arse. Okay. So that's been badly managed by everyone, in my opinion. Not just Arsene, Ivan, and thing. But the big thing here for me is when you mention Alexis Sanchez is awful for us last season for the 6 months he was here.
Mm.
He won the Crystal Palace game, but he wasn't a 20-goal a season.
No, I'm not.
player.
I'm not
That's
saying that you don't get rid of him. Clearly, you do. But the difference is, you knew he wanted to leave in the summer, so you sell him then. That's mismanagement.
Yeah.
The fact you kept
That's
him
fair.
at
That's
the
fair.
club,
Yeah.
you kept him at the club, and then you got into the position where you're in January, and you're like, okay, well now we've got to ship him. Oh wait, the only club that wants him is Man United right now, because every other club in Europe goes, well, we'll just wait till the summer. We can wait till then. We can afford to. Man United are desperate. And then we get in a position where Man United will only take him if we take Mkhitaryan, which then puts us in a position where Raiola can come in and go, my player's getting this wage or he's not joining your club. Oh, by the way, that means you can't get rid of Alexis Sanchez, a player you don't want anymore. We put ourselves in that position. We put ourselves in the position with Ramsey. We put ourselves in a position with Danny Welbeck leaving for nothing. We put ourselves in a position with Lauren Koscielny going to leave, can walk away for nothing. Petr Cech is a slightly different thing because of his age and the fact he's a goalkeeper. It's harder to move on, but we still had an option there to sell him. Nacho, we're keeping now. We've signed. We've done the 1 year add-on thing, haven't we? I think it's like 5 players that can walk away this summer for no, and we get no money.
Well, we're going to come on to that in a second. I think so. The one thing I want to mention as well is, we would be freeing up wages, okay? Yes. But the guys, whoever's going to come into us in the summer, they want market value wages. So it may not be that we're going to be any better off by freeing up wages anyway, because of the demands of the players coming in. And I think that's a big thing. Sorry, Josh, you want to say something?
I was going to say we will be. It's fine next season because the FFP thing resets. It's only this season's the problem. The fact that Ozil signed a new deal a summer and a half ago for a huge wage, that's not the problem this season. That was already at the start of our wage bill at the beginning of the summer. That was already there. That was, okay, you can increase from that point up 7% or 7 million, whatever it is. That was already there as our wage bill. So Ozil being on that size of a wage doesn't cause the problem. And the fact, that we got image rights in that. So that pushed our commercial revenue up. So in fact, signing Ozil to a higher deal pushed our commercial revenue up, meaning we could get players on higher wages because it's 7% plus whatever you deal with the commercial revenue. So it seems like a completely moot point with Ozil's wage on that regard. Yes, Ramsey wants wages at that level, but he doesn't bring the commercial revenue in with it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a moot point on Ozil getting those wages, because if someone at the club is on that much money, then players coming in, and we need to sign good players to get ourselves back in the Champions League, because if we suffer another season out of it, I think it's going to be years before we get back in, to be perfectly honest, because we're going to fall way behind. They come in and go, well, I know this guy's on 350 grand a week. I want at least 200.
But we're a big club. We should be paying those wages to our big players.
Our wage bill is so out of control. It's ridiculous.
Eden Hazard's on the same wages as Ozil, and until this season was just as effective. If you go back and look at the stats, he's just as effective as Mesut Ozil for Chelsea as he was for Arsenal.
But they sell players better and make more money.
Well, they've got dodgy things going on. But this is the other bit to add. We've got a unique issue, this situation, this season, where we fired our previous regime. So we've got this huge amount of money that we're still paying out on our wage bill that we're not doing anything with. Arsenal's still taking his salary. Jerry Payton's still taking his salary. Boris Premich is still taking his salary. Banfield, salary, still paying it as well. That all ends in the summer.
Mm.
We're gonna have
all of that
more
money.
money in the summer, definitely, and obviously
Yeah.
this window is. I don't think January's a good time to sign players.
That's why I think it's just a completely unique situation, and I wouldn't get too hung up on it.
But
So-
there is no denying the fact that Arsenal for the last 10 years have completely mismanaged players, sales and wages. And the
Yeah,
wages.
but now we've got a new structure in place.
I wouldn't say the last 10. I wouldn't say the last 10 years. I think, unfortunately, what you had initially, you had other clubs coming in taking out great youth players. Okay, so we weren't able to develop them. They were being nicked from us. So Arsene brought in the egalitarian wage structure to try to stop that. Then all of a sudden, of course, it has a knock-on effect that these players don't sort of, they get too comfortable too early, so they don't develop as many as well as they should. We've never kind of been at the forefront of anything since the early days of Arsene. I don't think we've been massively, mismanaged. You look at Cesc going RVP, we got good fees for them, and they forced their way out of the club. It's when people are leaving on frees. That's the big issue now, and that's the thing that's annoying me. I think, it's a really convoluted issue where I don't think there's one particular right viewpoint on it. I think you both brought up a lot of really good points. And I think,
it's something that's gone on for a number of years, and each one contributes onto the next one. Next season.
It has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? And it's like the Czech summer. We should have gone out and got another player. We had the money. We end up paying tax on it, on that money in the bank. So we lose money out of it because we haven't brought somebody in. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, and nobody owns a crystal ball. You do the best with what you got, and it's very, very difficult. Josh, Marble Halls TV asks, and I think it's a great question. We were calling out for tactical flexibility under Arsene Wenger. So why can we now dig out Emery when he is showing tactical flexibility?
Oh, I think it's one of those with Arsenal fans. We don't like uncertainty, do we? And now we don't really know what Emery's doing, so we're all getting really worried. And I think that's been the cause of the show. Yeah, we don't know what his system is with his defence, if there is one. I'd like to see it. But it's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's we don't like change, and we can't work because if we knew what the base, like the vanilla Arsenal was, what Emery wanted to do, if it was like, oh, this is my main tactic, we don't even know what his main tactic is yet. So we don't even know if he's being tactically flexible.
I think the big thing as well is, okay, we only mourned about Arsene's inflexibility when we lost. And we're only mourning about Unai's flexibility when we lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's too flexible now. That's the problem. Yeah. He's too flexible.
It's one of these. And it's again, Arsene Wenger was no bad guy. Unai Emery is no bad guy. We may not like what's happened, but they're doing it because they believe in what they're doing. And it's one of those things, if you go in our WhatsApp group in ABW, my God, there's so many different perspectives. It's amazing. Yet we all just love football, etc. It's one of those things.
You have
John,
to wonder how some of us aren't paid at least $5 million a season to manage football teams. With all the views in our WhatsApp group,
I think we'd be great. I think we'd be. I'd have to be the CEO, mind you. Okay, I know. Danny, I'm not sure we're going to get Danny.
CEO, don't do anything on the pitch, then, Jason. Know nothing about football.
Exactly.
Perfect,
you know what I mean.
CEO.
Cheeky bugger. Hey, I'm always right. Always. Well, except I was a bit harsh on Socrates. I was a bit over the top there. But there you go. John, Michael Kinkella asks, do you think letting Ramsey, Welbeck, Czech and Jenkinson go for free just to free up the wage bill in order to stay in financial fair play so we can sign many good players in the summer, do you think that's a good thing?
No, not particularly. I think them coming off the wage bill will be a good thing in the long run. But I think letting them go for free is bad. The Welbeck one is a bit unlucky because of his injury. I think maybe we might have tried to move him on in January if he hadn't got injured. There's still an argument that that's leaving it a bit too late. Czech one, I think, because of his age, is different. Jenkinson, I think, was going to go, but again, we got injuries. The Ramsey one, everyone knows, I think, is ridiculous. I hope it helps out in the summer. As I said earlier, I'd rather we go and get the players we actually want rather than stopgap ones in January now, unless it is just a loan deal. But yeah, hopefully they take that money that we've got free from the wage bill and put it to good use. But it's I don't necessarily blame the new guys because they've kind of walked into this and they're trying to catch up and sort everything out in a short period of time.
No, absolutely. We got a few questions to go, and then we're wrapping up. So it's gone on for longer than I thought it would have, but there's so many good questions here. Josh, Jim Housen asks, has Emery upset the dressing room with his treatment of Ramsey and Ozil?
I don't think he's lost the dressing room. No, I don't think so at all. We're still getting all of the, happy-go-lucky videos that we see across Instagram and Twitter being put out by the club media. I think it's too early to say anything for that respect. No, sorry, I'm going to go short and sweet if we're going to fly through the questions.
Joe Madeira asked a really good question, but it won't be. But I think that would take too long today, Joe. So we'll ask it again next show after the Chelsea game, and we'll have a look at that. It's a really good question, mate, but I think that would take us a bit too long because we all carpenter the shit out of it, to be fair to us. John, Michael Harniman asks, how badly do you think the fact that we can't buy this window will affect us long run in achieving our objectives?
I think we have to put everything on the Europa League, honestly. I just don't think we're gonna. We could go on a brilliant run in the league, but I just think that Tottenham and Chelsea will have enough just to keep above us. Unfortunately, I don't like saying that. And you've also got Man United breathing down our neck. So I think everything is on the Europa League. Can we win it with the players we've got? We should be able to win it with the players we've got. We shouldn't need any investment to win the Europa League. Doing it is a different matter. So I hope it doesn't affect us.
Chelsea's still in there, mate. Chelsea's the big one in there.
Yeah.
Josh, Prayash Kapoor asks, Wenger was heavily criticised for not fixing defensive issues. I don't see any defensive improvement under Emery. Agreed he needs time to fix it. Were fans harsh on Wenger in his final days?
I think Wenger had a lot longer to deal with the defensive issues. This wasn't an issue that only appeared in the first half of his first season. This was an issue that had been going on for a number of seasons, that our defence was an issue. So perhaps that's also the reason why it's not a quick fix, but it's not something I'm going to start hanging out Emery to dry until he's got at least a season under his belt. Because, as you say, previous regime had a lot longer to deal with aforementioned issue.
Absolutely. I tell you what, we're going to wrap up on that. Joe Madeira, Richard Garrett, Loki73 had some questions. Sorry, guys. We've been going for over 90 minutes now. It's time to wrap this up. But ask them again next week, and we'll see what we can do, okay? My thanks to John and Josh. I really enjoyed that. That's made me feel a bit better after that game. So well done, lads. Thank you.
Cheers, Jace.
A quick final shout out to Aryan Hidari and J Rob. Thank you ever so much for the donations, guys. You blow us away every time. It's absolutely superb.
Don't forget Yvonne as well, Jace.
And Yvonne, Yvonne first. Sorry, I've written Yvonne. Why have I written Yvonne down? I always write Yvonne down first, to be fair. Sorry, Yvonne. Love you. Again, a big shout out to everybody in the chat box. Thank you ever so much for support. Superb. To all of you listening on other formats, you absolutely rock. We really appreciate it. If you want to be part of the chat box, click on subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the bell icon, and you will be notified when we go live. And we look forward to having everybody in here. It's a lot of fun. You can have a bit of banter. It's great. Just to reiterate, this show for Dave Seeger and his family, and for our friend Jimmy, a lot of love going out to you guys. It's heartbreaking what's happened, and we just wish you all the very, very best. And so good luck to you all. It's been a crap day at the Arsenal today, guys, but hey ho, it's not the first, and it won't be the last. Onwards and upwards. John, switch this shit off.